Namaste everyone. So welcome to another of our practices, and today we're going to do the seated variation of our 5 elements flow. So as usual, find yourself a comfortable space. You can do this standing. Those of you that are familiar with the practice will be used to that. And let's get started. So let's begin just with our palms to our chest, and we're just going to start with a little bit of full body awareness, so connecting to your tailbone, your sits bones and the crown of your head, a slight tuck of the chin, lift of the crown, and then a slight zipping up of the front body, so feeling your chest lift slightly to your palms, feeling the back grounding down, so you're fully connected to a straight spine and starting to notice the breath on the chest. This one movement is such a centering and simple practice that you can do any time of day. Bringing ourselves to balance in the front and the back of the body, connecting to the heart. It's a great one for soothing anxiety as well. So, rubbing them palms together, get a bit of heat going, especially this time of year. So let's get going with warming up the wrists. So this one we're just running the fingers, flexing those fingers at the fullness of their joints, flexing the wrists, nice and relaxed in the shoulder blades. Let's take them just around the elbow joints, just to wake up the elbow joints. And the other way. And this is just noticing any areas you've got tension or tightness. Noticing a bit on the tops of the shoulders. Just let them shoulders trail around, so you're letting the tops of the shoulders move, the lower arms are just following the upper arm movement. Again, we're just giving our arms the full range of motion, the full stretch and flex. Right, so take them palms and we're going to bring them up at the sides and then down and across, up, down and across, switching arms each time. This is again just to open up the chest, the shoulders, the arms. Imagine them shoulder blades melting down the back body. Still aware in the spine, the sits bones. And this time the hands go up and over. Lovely. And then just circle a few times backwards just to settle that back in. Lovely. So let's do owl spreads its feathers, just to open to the side of the neck. So the palms come out at the sides, fingertips drop down. We come back to centre around the pelvis, the abdomen. We're just turning from the elbow, imagine the elbow fixed in space. Turn to the opposite side and then imagine the fingertips dropping down, letting gravity pull them down, so we're not forcing it. And at the same time we're inviting, allowing a stretch from the tops of the shoulders while opening up the neck. So let's go for one of our favourites, which is owl spreads its feathers. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to take our hands and imagine scooping water and pushing it down at the sides, again letting the shoulders melt down the back body. This one lovely for any tension or tightness on the tops of the shoulders. Again, scooping round. I'm still aware right the way through the soles of my feet and my sits bones. Full body awareness. Gift of Qigong is you get to be fully here and now, just with the breath, with the body. Time for total self-care as you imagine a line of opposition between the tailbone and the crown. And then gently, if it feels comfortable, you can roll the neck over the shoulder, but we're bringing the ear to the shoulder, not the other way around, and we're not fully touching necessarily. We're just inviting a stretch right the way down the opposite arm and fingers, so there'll be a line of tension between the crown pushing away from the opposite fingertips, which I'm wiggling now, and that's just to release some tension on the tops of the shoulders. Lovely. And circle them shoulders again to let that settle in. Right, if you've been doing a lot of sitting, then opening up with picking the cherries is a lovely one to open up the vertebrae in your spine. and as well as the side body. So anchor down the hip of the arm that's raised, anchor that down, imagine that pushing down, so that way you get a bit of stretch in the side body and it's giving us a bit of a stretch in the vertebrae. Still some awareness through the crown and the tailbone as if they're gently pushing away from each other. For this I can feel my core a bit as well, waking up. Your shoulders might start to ache a little bit. Imagine them just corks floating on water. Final stretch. And then lean to one side and looking up to centre, to the other side looking up and to centre. So when we stretch to start, we're just opening the body up fully, and that gives us space to flow through, to work with in our flow sequences. Right, let's go to a gentle, just a warm up for the lower body. You can just start by gently just rubbing the legs. For those that are standing, you can do the tiger claws, tiger squats. And again, this is just a nice one to open up in the morning, to open up the body, to cleanse out. Imagine clearing the leaves, like gutter through the leaves from the gutters. So you're starting at your feet, and even if you're seated, just imagining reaching as far as you can. Just imagine with your mind raking through the leaves and then release. So we're raking with the leaves and then we release. I keep my spine relatively straight to go down, and then a slight bend, wave to come up. And the hands are just, we're imagining like we're trying to grip onto a wall, the tiger claws. So imagine they're rakes, clearing out the gut leaves in the gutter. Coming to the final leaves of the year, fall into the ground. A couple more times. Just imagine clearing out and release. Lovely. So we can do a bit of Qi scattering through our shake the tree, which is just where we just clear tension, tightness from the body. So breathe in, flexing the fingers. Really flex the fingertips, the shoulders, and you can have a slight bounce into your sits bones if that's possible for you as well. You can always shake the ankles as well if that's helpful. Loosen up the joints, the knees. Really let them shoulder blades melt down. Starting to notice the breath. Slowing it down. Slowing it down. We'll just open up with our waistline, with our tray of teacups. Final warm up. So we're going to bring that side of the palm in, behind, around. In at the side, behind, around. So it's the side palm where the finger is that's leading the movement, as if it's a knife cutting through the air, cutting through butter. And then the opposite way. So it's the thumb that's leading this time, going forward, around the side, and in. And this is just to bring a spiraling movement through the arm, through the waist, through the whole body. We've talked about nature grows in spirals, the plants, the ferns, the trees, our DNA. So we're just inviting a bit of a spiral, a bit of an opening through the body and the core. In Chinese medicine, and Prudence Harris talks about this in her energy medicine, that we've got this belt channel from Donna Eden around the centre of the body, which kind of cinches around all the meridians that flow up and down. Just brings everything together at our core. So bringing a bit of awareness to the core, a bit of a spiraling, and I still imagine that spiraling even now, going right the way through my legs, my feet. Intention is everything. So hopefully we're feeling a little bit more open now. You could imagine circling as well your upper body if that feels good. Just 3 times to each side, around your sits bones. Lovely. So let's just open up the front and back of your spine to come in sync with the breath. But in a slower, more conscious movement now with the breath, opening the chest and the front of the spine, rounding, still imagining that line of opposition between the crown and the tailbone, so we've got a nice integrity, straightens through the spine. Even as we're bending, we're aware of the top and bottom of the spine almost in opposition to each other. And that just gives a bit more openness for the vertebrae. Again, a bit more space. And that sets us up nicely for our holding position. So we're going to start in Wuji and we'll go through our 5-element flow today. So imagine the palms cupping at your lower abdomen and start to bring awareness to the sits bones. Your feet are touching the floor, to the soles of your feet on all 4 corners, the tops of the feet and the back of the feet. Imagine the shoulder blades melting down the back body, the crown's lifted, the chin is tight, lightly tucked. Again, like that movement we had at the start with our hand mudra, where we breathed into our chest. Our palms touching at the chest line, imagine that lifting up the front body and that dropping down the back body. Balanced in the front and the back body. And this is where we begin to notice the breath. Not trying to change it in any way, just notice how you're breathing. The quality of the air flowing in and out. Noticing the temperature, noticing the depth, where does it land in the body, and we invite that breath to soften, deepen down into the abdomen. Even if we can't feel it there, we're just imagining, intending, allowing the breath to sink, to soften. We can bring awareness to the 4-sided breath. Those that have been doing this practice a while, we're aware of the breath stretching the back body, the sides and the front. We're allowing plenty of spaciousness. And you might imagine stepping into a lift in the mind, and the mind descending down, 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 through the chest and down, 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 right to sink like a pebble in the pond in the lower abdomen. A white light shining in the lower abdomen, the lower dantian. And this is called our reservoir of power, our door of life in Qigong. Where the bodily energy is housed, so we're just breathing awareness, attention to this lower abdomen. You can imagine that light gently expanding and contracting, still aware of the soles of the feet, the sits bones, a slight stretch in the hands as if the hands are stretching like a drum skin. Opening up our palms, centre of the palm. Where they say the meridians, the energy lines all come to a point. So we're just opening the palms, we're opening all the fascia and the connective tissue, and we're breathing slower and deeper. And this movement, stand like a tree, lower embrace the tree. Stay here for another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll move into our flow sequence. So really soften, allow that breath to deepen. Invite the forehead to soften and relax. The jaw, the face, soft, relaxed. Melting down the shoulder blades, the tops of the arms, down the forearms to the fingertips. Soft, open, relaxed and heavy. And down the back of the body, back of the spine, the front of the chest, down the abdomen, washing down the hips, the waist, tops of the legs, the backs of the legs, the knees, shins, the calves, the soles of the feet to the tips of the toes. And awareness then returns to the lower abdomen. So the whole body is soft, relaxed, open, yet alert in our Wuji. Next from here we flow into Buddha, upholds the earth. So this is our lung flow. So we'll bring the arms up, around, rotating around the thumb, looking up, Buddha holding up the earth. And then again around that thumb, the hands are rotating around the thumb, down to the lower abdomen. Hands around, up, down, chest, lower abdomen. Rotate around the thumb. Just one opening up the chest and supporting the lungs, the immunity, the skin, our outer defences, which are important in this time of year, this season, as we turn from autumn into winter in the UK. And with the breath, so we breathe in to lift. We can have a slight pause at the top and exhale with your own breath. And the breath lands, sinks into that lower dantian. Really let them shoulders be soft for our last movement. Hold, and this time as the arms come down, we'll just bring them in front of our lung points. If you remember, just where the collarbone meets the shoulder pockets, 2 finger widths below. And we're going to breathe into this place. This is what the Chinese call the mu point, the alarm point. The point for our immunity in our lungs. So we'll just breathe in a bit of extra energy, a bit of extra love into our immune system. You can imagine white light washing into the lungs, and from there right the way through the immune system, the red blood cells and white blood cells, balanced, healthy. Our ability to move through the autumn and the winter healthy. Our defense is strong. And sinking down to the lower abdomen. Nice deep breath. And we're going to go to our fountain position. So for this, we just hold our hands 30 seconds or so just behind, like we do at the front, but we bring our arms round, fingertips brushing the sides if that helps to keep the shape. And we're just cupping as if it's behind, as if we've got a chalice, a goblet behind our back, a bowl. We're just breathing awareness into the kidneys and the lower back. We do a slight posture, standing posture for each element. And this one is nourishing the kidneys and the water channels, the brain. The water is connected to emotions. So we're bringing a bit of emotional balance. The support to the kidneys, the door of life. The vast majority of our body made up of water, so we're just nourishing that, giving thanks for that. And the arms can then gently come back to the front, and we go to our fountain flow. So our palms come to float as if on the surface of water. Now you can imagine from the soles of your feet or from your abdomen or both, water washing up like a fountain and around the sides. Elbows stay relatively fixed in space, shoulder blades are nice and relaxed down the back body, so we've got a slight wave through the spine. Imagine that water washing up. Gentle flow. Again, slight drum skin stretch of the palms to keep awareness through the whole body. And the palms stretching water down the sides. So with our hands we're tracing along the body, guiding, directing what in Chinese medicine we call the Qi, the life force, through the body, around the body. And the palms are connected to the heart, so bringing a bit of love, a bit of heart energy right the way through the system. A couple more times. And this time we're going to bring the arms in front for upholding the tree. So this one, the arms are rounded, back body's melting down, front body's lifting up slightly. Slight chuck of the chin, lift of the crown. And this one is connected to our liver. This one's supporting the fascia, the connective tissue, right the way through the body. The fascia wraps around the organs, right the way through the whole body, so it's a really supportive network. So as we stretch slightly the skin of our hands, we are opening up the fascia. You can do the same with the soles of your feet, and if you're free of shoes, you can really stretch those toes out. We're breathing space into the fascia, the huang, the connective tissue, like the woody sinews of the body. And this is also supporting the liver, which clears toxins through the body, filters many things through for us. And the liver is also connected to anger and its counterpart, self-compassion, loving kindness. So you can imagine any anger or frustration just washing away. You can imagine green light washing into the liver. You could imagine some words of kindness, offering some loving self-talk now, whatever you can manage in this moment. I am here. I love you. I'm grateful. And just breathing that deep into the liver. Imagine that kindness washing through the whole body. As we go now into our flow, tree sways in the wind, so those fingers draw up the side of the body and they turn slightly as we're getting around the shoulder and head level to the head, bit of a mobot, and down the sides. So we start in the centre, the lower dantian, sweeping up the sides, tracing a bit of the meridians, the liver and the gallbladder. I always find My mind's a bit calmer after this. And again, we're keeping a nice straight spine. So we're turning from the quad, the inner waist. Just a slight turn, not uncomfortably so. Just a tree gently swaying in the wind. We breathe in to lift. We breathe out to release. Again, you can imagine the hands lifting a white light up through the body, and then it washing down the centre. One more time to each side. White light washes up. We're going to go to our next posture, which is where our hands are lifted. And so for this one, the elbows are soft and yet slightly lower than the shoulders. The sides of the palms again like the axe blade pushing outwards. The crown slightly lifted, chin tucked, that line of opposition of the spine. I'm aware of all four corners of my feet or sits bones, both. And this one is holding the golden chalice to the yang position. So imagine breathing in sunlight, the warmth of the waning winter sun. You can imagine a golden light washing down. Imagine filling it, a chalice above your head, and that washes down through your palms and the inside of your arms. This is supporting the heart, so it washes right the way down them palms and into the heart. And from there, that golden light can sweep right the way around the body. And if your arms get tired here, just imagine the shoulder blades like corks on water, soft, upheld, buoyant and floating. And the elbows and the wrists, soft, corks on water, buoyant, floating. And imagine the fingertips being held up by invisible string. Don't worry, we're not going to be here for long. Take a final deep breath of that golden light. And we're going to support that to circulate through now, through cloudy hands. So, for this one, we're going to bring one hand in front of the heart and one hand around the abdomen level. We're going to turn to the side, change the arms over. So we go. We shift the weight slightly. So let's shift the weight slightly in sits bones. We turn, and then the hands change. I imagine a ball between my hands as the hands change. So the hands change, we shift to the other sits bone, and then the palms come along. So we're turning as if on a spit, and the hands change. This one, cloudy hands, imagine as that hand lifts, it's water, mist rising on water, the hand, the sunlight clearing through the mist. This flow balances the heart, the fire channel with water. So we shift the weight, change the hands, turn on the spit, change the hands, shift the weight, turn, change hands, shift the weight, turn, change hands. And over time, we can bring in the breath, so we change the breath to inhale, and only when we change hands do we exhale. Now imagine the little finger skimming over the surface of water, that lower hand. Find what feels good. Okay, so let's go to our final position, which is holding the golden urn to the yin position. So this time we're letting the elbows be soft and drop down. Again, we're straighten the spine, soften the elbows, slight cupping, drum skin stretch of the palms. I imagine I've got a goblet in each hand and it's tipping it down or holding a bowl. And in this position, we're connected to the earth, to our foundation, whatever that means to you, whether it's roots beneath your feet, whether it's connecting to the bones, to the soles of your feet. This is connected to the earth element, to stability, community, nourishment. Strong sense of grounding. This connects to the stomach and the spleen. So how are we receiving the nourishment, whether food, whether love, support around us? How much are we able to receive that in, integrate that in? Drawing strength from our bones and the ground beneath our feet. We take a final deep breath and go into pebble in the pond, one of my favourites. So imagining skimming a pebble on a pond, but the palms stay straight. And then those waves ripple and we gather and we draw it back into the abdomen. Palms face the abdomen and then back to skim the surface of that water. And then we draw them waves around and back to the abdomen. So we breathe out, and gather. The soothing quality of rock, of stone on water, hardness and softness combined. Final time. I'm going to draw that into the abdomen, and let's draw down the heavens. In fact, let's do one arm at a time, centering. Just gathering up all the fruits of the practice, still nice and alert and aware through the palms. I imagine for this one literally pulling myself together, bringing all of my energy and attention back to my core, my centre, coming back to myself. Final time, and the hands rest over the abdomen. And take a few of them nice deep three-sided breaths, four-sided, to the front and the back and the sides of the abdomen. Letting the crown lift slightly and chin tuck. One final time of lifting the front body and slightly grounding down the back body. That balance in the front and the back. Aware of our sit bones on the surface beneath us, aware how held and supported we are from below. The lightness of the air that comes in and out with each breath. Equally connected to the skies, to the heavens, to the earth beneath our feet. And it all comes together in this body, in this breath, in this moment. So centering that practice with another final deep breath. You might wish to circle the abdomen and release with an audible sigh. Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining us, and I'll join you again same time next week for another of our practices. We'll have some more seated practices going up as well in the coming weeks. Until then, namaste and take good care.